when you talk about the upcoming coronation of Charles, right, as descendant along the lines from Henry VIII and so on, and from Elizabeth the First, right? You're talking about someone who is considered to be the head of the church in England, and this is supposed to be the church that Christ established, and of course it's not. So it is a heretical church, to say the least. And so that coronation does provoke some very serious Catholic reactions, saying it is simply something that we cannot really recognize because it goes back to King Henry, whose coronation oath involved loyalty and fidelity to the Supreme Pontiff at the time, the Catholic Church, and he was even awarded the title of Defender of the Faith against the Protestant heresies, against Luther and his errors. And for the sake of his desire to produce an heir who would be, a king to succeed him in England, he forfeited his faith. He repudiated his faith, actually, and died, outside the Catholic faith, and claiming himself, requiring his subjects to take an oath recognizing him as the supreme head of the church in England, as though he was the Pope in England, which no Catholic could actually do in good conscience. St. Thomas More was an example of that. It was the oath of supremacy that actually was the main issue there. So I just don't see, not only why Catholics are interested in this, but how any of them could even think for a moment of pledging allegiance. Could you read what this is about exactly? I bet many of our own readers and viewers have no idea what you mean by this. I know it has to do with something novel, something new, like accepting the homage of the people, right? Like a pledge of allegiance to Charles, his heirs, and his successors, not only by the people of the realm of England, right, but of other realms who are invited to all pledge allegiance throughout the world, uniting supposedly millions of voices, right, and pledging allegiance to Charles. Could you actually give us the exact terms of this, please?
Sure, yeah. If I could read a little snippet from some of the news reports on this. They
That'd
say,
be good.
In a controversial new addition to the ancient ceremony, the Archbishop of Canterbury will call on the public in the UK and quote-unquote other realms to make the pledge and what is called the homage of the people. This will replace the previous homage of peers, which for centuries expected dukes, the highest hereditary title of nobility in the UK, to swear their allegiance to the crown. And the actual text of the actual oath says that, I swear that I will pay true allegiance to your majesty and to your heirs and successors according to law, so help me God.
And I consider that to be an outrage, to invoke the name of God, especially, to swear that, right? That is truly an oath. Allegiance, well, I guess one could, parse that word a little bit. What do they mean by that? But to Charles's heirs and successors, that sounds like something that not only no Catholic could legitimately take, but I don't see how any human being could take that, honestly. To Charles's heirs and successors, It's I think it's outrageous. By the way, the coronation of Charles is actually a religious ceremony. It is a religious rite. The coronation is a religious rite, even the title of it, authorized by the Most Reverend and Right Honorable Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, not Catholic, certainly, okay? But actually the Archbishop of Canterbury of the Anglican Communion, which actually Charles is considered to be the head of, right? And this Justin Welby, a layman, and not Catholic, a lay heretic, has authorized a liturgy. It's actually called the Authorized Liturgy for the Coronation Rite, R-I-T-E, of His Majesty King Charles III. And so, you wonder how any Catholic could even be present for it other than simply as an observer, without, worshiping in this liturgical rite or consenting to it even. It's just a very sordid affair that brought the so-called Church of England into existence. And so I don't see how any Catholic could even rejoice at this, take it seriously, and certainly could not pronounce any such oath as they're inviting people to take around the world to Charles, right?
What type of advice would you give to any traditional Catholics in England and the UK? How should they view this whole matter? What should they do?
I think they should view it as an outrage and say it's against their conscience and against their faith, and we will have nothing to do with it.